Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may find yourself, and welcome back to Rand Vibe. Here we grow, we learn, and we experience. My name is Dr. Rosemond Osei-Kranting, and today we continue our review of the book, The Leader Who Had No Title by Robin Sharma. I hope you have enjoyed the journey so far. And today I'm reading a passage from page 30 of the book. I realized that ultimately, each of us alone creates the life we get to live. And through my decisions and my actions, I'd ended up with mine. You see, somehow a lot of us have been made to buy into the idea that life happens to us. It's chance. We don't have anything to do with what becomes of our lives. There's just a hand of fate that has written everything already. What will be, will be. We have all kinds of mantras, sometimes scriptures, ideologies, proverbs, idioms, all sorts of things that we have put together to make us comfortable with the belief that life happens to us. And a lot of us have bought into that lie, because when that happens, we take the blame off us, and whatever our life has become, we just assume that, well, that is how it's supposed to be. That is never true. The life that each of us is living today, it's a product of the choices, the decisions, and the actions we have repeatedly taken over the years. I'm going to say that again. Whatever life any of us, including me, Rosemond Osei-Kranting, we have, it is a product of the decisions, the choices, and the actions that we have taken repeatedly and consistently up until this point. I'll never dispute the fact that the grace of God, the mercy of God, and that supernatural dimension is there. But largely, to a large extent, what our lives are today is a summary of our decisions, our choices, and our repeated actions. The first part of the passage we read, each of us alone creates the life we get to live. And this statement emphasizes personal responsibility. I mean, there are a lot of things that can affect us, circumstances around us, the family we're born into, even being born in Ghana versus being born in America. There are two different things. The people you marry, so many things around you that would influence the kind of life you get to live. And these are external forces. But even with all of these external things affecting what our life should become, largely the direction and the quality of our lives still depends on how we respond or react to these external circumstances that I have just mentioned. Every day we make choices, hundreds of choices we make every day. Even the decision for me to make a video this afternoon is a choice, because I'm sure I'd rather be doing something else, maybe watching Netflix or just sleeping after Sunday church. But the choice to want to create a brand and to mentor and to disciple people, that desire is stronger than the desire for me to sleep this afternoon. Choices like how you treat people, whether to smile, whether to be pleasant, whether to be rude, even those ones, what to eat, It's a choice. The decision to wake up early and pray before you set out into your day, to wake up early and do a bit of exercise, to spend extra time with the person you love, to tell the man or woman you love how much they mean to you. These are small choices. But cumulatively, over weeks and months and years, they affect everything around you, including the quantity and the quality of human beings you have around you. And even the way you use your time, the way you use your talents, any kind of resource available to you, how you respond to the changes in your life, those that were anticipated and those that were not. All of these small choices, they form a very cumulative effect. And in this passage, Blake came to this aha moment, this realization that the decisions and the actions he's taken through the course of his life are what have finally accumulated into who he was and the life he had. And we all need to come to that realization at that point. That is one of the best things that can ever happen to you and I. We coming to that realization that the life we have is largely because of the choices that we have made. Not our spouse, not our parents, not our children, not our pastors, what we have made. And two things about this that make it one of the best places you can ever be in life. The first one is that it brings you a sobering awareness. Sobering because you come to realize that whatever is happening to you is because of your own choices. And then you become sober because now you are not playing the blame game. You are not blaming the government. You are not blaming your spouse, your girlfriend, boyfriend. You are not blaming your parents. You are not blaming the school you went to. You are not blaming your boss. You are not blaming anybody. You take responsibility that whatever my life is today, it is because I made a decision. It is one of the most empowering things. When I was going through my first divorce, there was a phase where I was very bitter and very vindictive. And I'll think about all the terrible things my partner did to me. I'll think about the terrible things his family did, the people around me, my own family. And I was always thinking about all the terrible things that people did to me. True, people did terrible things to me. But one fine day, I came to that realization that whatever had happened to me was because I allowed it. Nobody can treat me in a certain way if I did not allow it. In fact, nobody pushed me to marry that person in the first place. And the moment I decided to take responsibility for what had become, my life had become, that was where my healing and my turning point started from. Because not only is this realization very sobering and one that will strip you of your blame game, but it would also empower you, because it makes you realize that if you are responsible for the things that have happened to you, then you are also responsible and have the power to change it. Yes, and so I came to that point like, oh, so if I allow this, then I can unallow it. And I decided to now start to decide whose words get to me. In fact, one of the first things I did was to block like 100 people on my phone, because in time was one time. So I blocked anybody who would tell me something that would hurt me, that would make me worried, that would make me concerned. You coming to the realization that you are largely responsible for the mess or the shit, forgive my friend, that your life is in. Not only sobers you, but it empowers you. You take your power back. And you decide how your life should be. You decide who talks to you and who does not talk to you. You decide who you love and who you do not love. You decide who moves into your life, who gets close to you. You take charge of your life and you realize that you don't leave things to chance anymore. We all need, that is one of the most empowering places you can ever get to realize that you are responsible. No matter who did what or did not do what. And when you get to this junction, that is where you get the audacity and the courage to want to change the course or direction of your life. And at that point, you are not asking people for their permission. You are not waiting for approval. You decide what it is your life needs to become. And that decision is what changes your life forever. The second part of the passage, through my decisions and actions, I ended up with mine, the kind of life Blake had. And this statement recognizes that the habit, the small habits we have, that is what shapes our character, the way we talk to people, the way we relate to people, what we use our time for, the food we eat. Are we exercising? Are we reading? Are we learning? Are we people who are open to correction? Your habit will gradually form your character, and then your character will shape the kinds of decisions you will take. Because if you are somebody who has you are hard working, for example, that would inform your decision as to how early to get out of bed, how early you should get to work, and how much you should put into your working day. Your character will shape the decisions you make, and then ultimately your decisions will shape your destiny. And that is why it is so important for us to live intentionally. Every single thing we do must be intentional. Don't leave any part of your life to chance. Don't ever wake up on a day and not have anything planned for the day. Just say, oh, okay. Oh, and then Saturday. Oh, you may fair. Now what's the hope? Then you are dead, then a friend come. Oh, nanka me kwe ye bi wo wini ba o. Oh, ene mami nko jawe na oni na akọ. O ba ya no bi abefro. Chale, you say party bi wo ni see o ye nko. And you are just allowing other people to help you decide what to do with your life. No intentionality about your life. You are living dangerously if there's no intentionality to the way you live. Leadership begins with accountability. It doesn't begin with blame. It doesn't begin with you telling people what they did wrong. It begins with you becoming accountable and telling yourself that this is all me. That is the central theme of this book. Stop blaming circumstances, other people, bad luck, the economy, Ekufuado, Mahama. And the moment you begin to take responsibility or become accountable, your habits will change. The way you do things will change. Your thinking is adjusted. And you now want to pursue better goals. You want to pursue goals that will make sure that you get the outcome that you desire. And as you do these things, automatically your life and your relationships will improve. And taking responsibility is one of the turning points for transformation. The Bible says in Proverbs 4:23 that guard your heart. Some versions say with all diligence. For everything you do flows out of it. For out of it come forth the issues of life. And so you should guard the people around you. Because the way they behave, the way they react, their attitude towards life, towards other human beings, it rubs off on you. Who are you listening to? Who is mentoring you? What are you watching? What are you reading? What is shaping your life? Page 31, the leader who had no title. It is more like a continuation of what you read a few minutes ago. It was at this moment that something deep within me changed completely. It was my proverbial light bulb moment. The coin dropped and everything clicked. I promised myself I'll dramatically turn around the way I worked. I vowed that I'll instantly transform the way I lived. No more blaming the war for not being able to get back into the game. No more blaming my manager for not being able to do great work. No more blaming my past for my inability to win in the present. In that moment, tired and dirty, standing in some grave that my eccentric mentor dug well before the dawn of this breathtakingly beautiful day, with its promise of a new beginning, I stopped making excuses. I assumed total responsibility for the consequences of my action, and I stepped into my best. Like, this is one of the most beautiful pieces I ever read. And this is one of the most beautiful things, junctions in life that you and I can ever come to. That point where we realize that we don't have the audacity to blame anybody or anything for what our lives have become. Not only that, but we make the decision right there and then to transform our lives, to stop blaming and to change our lives. It is not just about coming to the realization, but actually taking steps to live out that realization. And I love the ending of the passage. He said, I stopped making excuses. What excuses have you been making? I'm asking myself the same. What excuses have I been making? We all are. Any place that you are making excuses at, you are refusing to step into your best. I stopped making excuses. I assume total responsibility for the consequences of my action. And I stepped into my best. The moment you accept responsibility for the consequences of your action, that is when you and I will step into our best lives yet. The light bulb moment, it's like the awakening, you awakening to the truth. So maybe there is a particular problem in your life and you've been living with it for years. You are blaming your spouse, you are blaming your economy, you are blaming your boss, you are blaming your secretary, and for years it's not changed. Of course, why would it change? Because your game has not changed. You keep blaming everybody else for it. But that expression, the light bulb moment, the time when the coin drops, when everything clicks, It describes a moment when a person suddenly understands something that you all this while you have ignored or refused to see or had remained hidden to you. Suddenly, something you did not realize or put together, suddenly everything makes sense. And the truth of the matter is that light bulb moment, it is not always a nice one. Look, I remember a few weeks back, a few months actually, I had one of those light bulb moments, and it was so harrowing and so bitter. I couldn't even carry my own weight. I just had to sit down. It was shocking and unbelievable. Sometimes the awakening moment can bring you relief. Sometimes it can bring you joy. Sometimes it will bring you profound shock or awe or disappointment. A few times pain. It is that moment of clarity where you realize that maybe the current circumstances that you are facing, whoever or whatever you thought was responsible, was not the person or the circumstances responsible at all. It is that moment where you realize that your own actions, reactions, or inactions actually contributed to the junction you have arrived at. And it is that moment where we realize that we have the power to change our future, because our future lies in the choices we are making today. And a lot of the time, these moments come after periods of intense reflection, or when you decide that you are going to be honest with yourself. If you are here and you never find the time to sit and reflect about things happening in your life, you are missing out. And you are missing several proverbial light bulb moments in your life where clarity or the light is shown on something that is hidden, so that you come to the awareness and realization that this is it and this is what I have to do to change it. Moments of reflection. There are times when this counts because you decide to be honest with yourself. A lot of us are not honest with ourselves. And that is why some of us cannot even sit with ourselves, because you know that when you sit with yourself, your mind is going to start talking to you and judging you and criticizing you and asking questions. And so we have developed the habit of running away from ourselves. We can't even look ourselves in the mirror and confess that, Rosie, me really soon. And now my soya like my ears are like a rabbit's ears. We can't look in the mirror. But if you want to have these moments of awakening to the truth and the opportunity to change the direction and course of your life for the better, you need to cultivate the habit of being honest with yourself. Yes, you made a mistake. You did not pay attention to the red flags and you married a foster. Yes, it happened to me, and I've sat down with myself and I've had this honest conversation. What did I miss? No matter how bitter it tastes, I need to swallow that medicine. No matter how bitter it will taste for you, you need to take one long look at you. Put you on the dissecting table and open yourself up and look inside you. What are the ugly things inside of you? You need to be completely honest with yourself. Ebia wo kasa senya oni nipa kasa kra enye. Ebia wo mboade. Ebia wo ye kwadifo umpebre. You will not put effort into the work. You are a team member, but you will not put effort into the team. And yet you are always blaming your manager, your leader, or your co-workers for suboptimal work. When are you going to be honest with yourself and tell yourself that I'm not giving my best to this marriage, I'm not giving my best to this family, I'm not giving my best to this schooling that I am schooling? You fool everybody that every Saturday you are going to classes to go and learn. Or you are flipping through TikTok. Who do you think you are fooling? Letting go of blame is one of the elements in this passage. I think we've discussed it extensively. We need to end that habit of blaming others. Blake was blaming the war, his manager, his past. And you know, the thing about blame is that it is very comforting. When you are blaming other people, you're there. And it is comforting because it will shift the responsibility from you. Oh, me mama, I'm from me and school. We blame everybody else. And it makes us free. But you see, in order for your life to move forward, at some point you have to take responsibility. That is why the blame game should not be your game. When you blame, you get stuck. When you accept responsibility, you gain control over your life. And in assuming total responsibility like Blake, we come to that point where we can now control how we respond to life and the things happening to us. Responsibility would restore your personal power. It will allow you to ask yourself 3 very important questions. What can I learn from this? How can I improve? What do I need to do differently this time? What do I learn from this? How can I improve? What do I do differently this time or moving forward? And this kind of stance or mindset, it's one of the elements that transforms adversity, bad breaks, difficult situations into opportunities. And when we come to that point where we assume full responsibility, that is the beginning of we stepping into our best. We stepping into that higher version of ourselves that has been waiting so long for you to release it. There's a higher version of you inside of you. Every day it wakes up looking forward to the day you are going to let it free, set it free. You getting to this higher version of you demands discipline. It demands honesty. It demands courage. It demands hard work. It demands responsibility. But it is one of the best decisions you can make. Together, let us step into our best in this new week. God bless you.